WWE Extreme Rules 2021 was as extreme as we expected. And we were not expecting much because there was only one Extreme Rules match. And what a finish that was. Let's talk about it. Getting those general thoughts out of the way, surprisingly, I enjoyed every single match that we ended up getting tonight. The only issue is once again, these gimmick pay-per-view that WWE gives us, and they do not live up to it. We get Hell in a Cell matches in the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that barely feel like they're Hell in a Cell matches. Tonight, they took that to the extreme. It was an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and we only had one extreme match. It took us 3 hours before we got to see a table, a steel chair, and a candlestick. Again, may I remind you that this is Extreme Rules pay-per-view, WWE. It's just ridiculous. You could have just named this pay-per-view No Mercy, Vengeance, or whatever. Just bring back one of the classics instead of giving us a gimmick pay-per-view with one match only being gimmick. All I'm asking is we should at least gotten another stipulation in another one of these matches. Besides that though, the wrestling was actually good. Now let's go ahead and do a quick results. On the kickoff, we had Liv Morgan defeating Carmella in one-on-one competition, and then the show started off with a matchup that we had no idea was going to be going down until the actual day of the show. We had the New Day taking on AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley, and Omos. This was a really good 6-man tag team match with one huge problem, and that is that they had the former champion Bobby Lashley eat the pinfall. What made this even worse is that later on in the night, Bobby Lashley challenged Big E to a matchup on Monday Night Raw tomorrow. That's gonna kick off the show. So Bobby's getting his one-on-one WWE Championship match. So what was the point of not protecting him tonight so that he looked more like a monster going into that Big E versus Lashley matchup that we all want to see after Big E won the title? Bobby is feuding with your champion. Don't let him get pinned right now. I thought they were making this matchup to protect him, but clearly that wasn't the case. We got the Uso defeating the Street Profit in the SmackDown Tag Team Titles match. Clean finish here for the Uso. Another good tag team matchup. Raw Women's Championship matchup up next. We got Alexa Bliss taking on the current champion Charlotte Flair. This matchup actually impressed me. By the way, Charlotte Flair's Venom attire was freaking awesome. And this was a solid matchup. I would have wished that there was some stipulation to it, like, you know, a simple tables match or something like that. Maybe no disqualification would have made it even better. Just to, you know, live up to the Extreme Rules that we're not really seeing anything extreme on the first 2.5 hours. Nonetheless, the big thing here happened at the end. Charlotte Flair wins by pinfall with natural selection. Then she goes on and dismantle Lily. She leaves Alexa Bliss notice that Lily is destroyed right in the middle of the ring, so she starts going crazy. She is crying, screaming, with white goo coming out of her mouth, I guess, or saliva. I don't even know what it was, but it was just insane. And the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Lily." So it looks like Alexa Bliss is just going to become a bit more vicious, a bit more demonic after that, as if her character wasn't all of that already. We had Damian Priest defeating Jeff Hardy and Sheamus in a triple threat matchup for the United States Championship. This matchup had a good finish where Jeff Hardy tried to steal the victory from Sheamus after a bro kick, but then Damian Priest kicks out. Sheamus comes back into the ring, sends off Jeff Hardy. Damian Priest comes from behind, goes for a roll up and picks up the victory. He went for that schoolboy pin on Sheamus. If I was booking this show, I would have made this matchup a ladder match. It makes all the sense in the world. So, you know, things could get a little bit more extremes. How many times can I say extreme without showing it? That's pretty much how WWE was booking his show tonight. We got Becky Lynch versus Bianca, a matchup which ended in a no contest, but it was a phenomenal matchup. Becky Lynch looked great in there. She hasn't lost a step. This should have been the matchup that we should have gotten at SummerSlam. Now, they didn't announce whether or not this was a no contest, but I mean, they didn't announce the winner, so I'm assuming it was a no contest. And the reason for that is because Sasha Banks came out. She attacked Bianca Belair as she was getting closer to quote-unquote beating Becky. Becky gives Sasha a thumbs up and she's like, "Thank you for basically saving her." Sasha Banks says okay, but then she just goes for the attack and also takes down Becky. Backstabber to Bianca and Becky. Sasha Banks is standing tall. She says, "I will see you on SmackDown." So after that, I was like, okay, okay, well, this is good that we had a match that ended in a no contest, because that means that they're not gonna book the main event to end in some screw up finish. Because, you know, it's the WWE and they could easily end a Extreme Rules match in a no contest because it's the WWE. They do things like this. And of course I was wrong. There was still some screw up finish. So the Demon Finn Balor taking on Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And welcome to Extreme Rules. This is an Extreme Rules matchup. First couple of things coming into play here is a couple of candlesticks. We got the Demon with a huge stack of candlesticks put together. So he gets the best out of Roman Reigns for quite a bit. We get the steel steps, the steel chair coming into play. Roman Reigns fights it off in the crowd against the Demon. And in typical heel faction, before going into the crowd, he actually puts a mask on. Because, you know, you gotta stay protected. We get back into the ring and by ringside, and the Demon is picking up some momentum. Out comes the Uso. Of course, getting involved in this. The Demon managed to take them out, even putting one of the Usos through the announce table. And as soon as he did that, he turned around and Roman Reigns was right there getting ready to spear him through the barricade into the timekeeper's table. This is when we get close to the end. The Demon's music start up and we get the red light, and this is when the Demon is kind of like firing up. He attacks Roman Reigns with a steel chair, put him through the table with a massive drop kick, puts Roman back in the ring. We get a bunch of smoke filling up the arena, so you could barely see at this point, but you can see that the Demon is on the top rope. He is getting ready for the coup de grace to defeat Roman, but then the BS starts to happen. Some way, somehow, the top rope breaks, the Demon lands on his private areas, and that was it. The lights goes back to normal. Finn Balor is selling the leg. Roman Reigns goes for the spear, 1, 2, 3, and retains the Universal Championship. The Bloodline stand tall to end the show. And this was one of those matches where WWE just booked themselves in a bit of a weird situation, because clearly they couldn't have the Demon lose clean. And to be fair, they could have done something better for this finish. But on the positive side of things, I guess they try to be creative with it. Now the big question is, who the hell rigged the ropes? The only thing that actually makes sense, I guess, will be Paul Heyman, you know? Because he wants Roman to keep that title, to maybe pass it on to Brock Lesnar when they face each other, or to maybe still have Roman Reigns as the tribal chief with him on his corner. Bringing back the Demon just to lose like this, or just to lose in general, doesn't make much sense. This matchup should have just been Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor loses, and then the next opponent that he takes on, he brings back the Demon, and he starts being a dominant force once again. WWE should have built towards that, you know, by having Finn Balor having no choice but to bring back the Demon after taking a massive loss. But at this point, they already skipped all of that. He already got to the ultimate form, and now he lost. Anyways, guys, that is what went down on Extreme Rules. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. As I mentioned before, not a bad pay-per-view. I actually enjoyed every single match that we got tonight. Questionable finish, also questionable that it was quote-unquote the Extreme Rules pay-per-view with only one Extreme Rules match. I probably would have given this pay-per-view a 7 or an 8 out of 10 if it was a different pay-per-view like Night of Champions or something. This could have been a perfect Night of Champions pay-per-view. With all of that said, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to drop a like. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.